Hey, vinyl community. There's some real arseholes out there, isn't there? I was driving home from work, only sort of 3 or 4 miles from home, country lane, and there's this blind bend. And, if you know the area, you take it carefully around that corner. And some twat comes hurtling around the other direction on my side of the road, must have been doing 50, 60 mile an hour. I just reactions. I swerve into the ditch, thankfully missing the car, but he takes off my wing mirror. And it just looks like a mess. You know, there's wires dangling and hanging everywhere. The wing mirror is obliterated into 100 pieces. It's going to cost me several £100 to get sorted. So, thanks for that. But this video isn't really a whinge about my wing mirror. It's a video on the cathartic process that music can bring. So kind of what I've been doing this evening is going through some sort of punk stroke sort of hardcore music, and I've tried to be quite canny with some of the songs or the song titles that I chose, and some of them are quite reflective of the mood that I'm in. And that's the power of music, isn't it? You can have a shit time or something can go wrong or whatever, and it can really lift you. And that's what has happened. That is precisely what's happened with me this evening. So without further ado, I'm just going to show you a handful of singles. I love the 7-inch form. I've talked about this before, but a few that I've been listening to this tonight, and mate, they've really floated my boat. So here we go. We're going to kick off with this. It's a nice split single by Jesus Lizard and Nirvana. Absolute quality, both tracks. But the one that I really wanted to vent my spleen over tonight was Jesus Lizard and Puss. That track just starts off with a snarly vocal of "Give me something to stop the bleeding," and wow, it's 3 minutes of absolute intense hardcore. Can't go wrong with the Jesus Lizard, and that song particularly will never ever let you down. And then we dialed it back a little bit. Put that over there. We dialed it back a little bit and went back to one of my favourite bands from the 70s, the Buzzcocks. Now this is a single called "What Do I Get," which is a great A-side, by the way, but that wasn't the one that I was really interested in. The one that I wanted to listen to tonight was "Oh Shit." I mean, it's the most perfect pop song. 1 minute and 32 seconds of Pete Shelley genius there, on a vinyl record. Don't know if you're familiar with that song, but give it a listen. It won't take up a lot of your life, but it will certainly make you smile. And then continuing along the Pete Shelley theme of sorts, this is a lovely record. Magazine, and the A-side is called "Shot by Both Sides." Now, Magazine has Howard Devoto on vocals, from the early Buzzcocks days. So there's a little bit of a link there. But also, "Shot by Both Sides" is written by Howard Devoto and Pete Shelley. So a nice little segue there from the two songs. Absolute class, this single. I love the picture sleeve as well. We'll just sit on that for a second. And then sort of my upbringing, a lot of my teenage years, well, all of my teenage years were in the 90s. Slurp tea. And I kind of really got into a lot of sort of hardcore grunge, sort of alternative rock music. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with this band or this label, but both are certainly worth checking out. Helmet. I mean, they're a great rock band, really high octane, kind of, grunge, kind of hardcore, pounding sort of rhythm section of the band, loud guitars, and the guy's voice. I mean, it's just so angry, he's just full on sort of no mercy kind of singing. And it's on a lovely label called Amphetamine Reptile, and they've done all sorts of great stuff. But the A-side, In the Meantime, is the one that I was particularly enjoying this evening. And that then led me on to another class sort of alternative American label, Sub Pop, and a song called Jinx by Tad. Now, there's Tad on the back. This is Tad Doyle, the singer, and his band around him. One hell of a rock and roll band. One ultra cool rock and roll band. I mean, they are absolutely awesome. And the lyrics go, Tad sings, in his guttural voice, I'm a jinx, I'm a jinx, I'm a jinx, bad luck follows me everywhere, which was really quite, kind of struck a chord with me anyway. And this is a lovely yellow vinyl on Sub Pop. Great label. Particularly, they still are a great label. The Last Ways Blood album on Sub Pop was absolutely class, and they do continue to put really lovely music out. But in the early days, it was a really sort of special time for the label, I think. And I kind of sometimes wonder, is that me? Is that nostalgia? Is that because, it was when I was a teen and I'm sort of looking back at, and all those emotions sort of wrapped up into that music, that sort of history, that timeline? Or is it just that it was a really good label? And I think it's probably a bit of both, actually. And there was 2,000 of those yellow vinyls pressed, so it's nice that I've got one here in my collection. And finally, the last single that I've listened to tonight is another sort of similar sort of vein as Tad, really, sort of like hardcore, sort of alternative rock, a great band called Poison Idea. So this is sort of like a cartoon caricature of the 5 members of the band there. I love the artwork on that one. And then on this side here is the actual band themselves. Absolutely class. I'm just finishing off a video. I'll be 1 minute, okay? And then on here, sorry, it's my daughter about to ask me a question, so I'll best wrap this up fairly soon. But here we go. 2 songs on here. We Got the Beat. And this is a lovely sort of like, what do they call it? Marble green vinyl. But on the A side is a song called Taken by Surprise. And when that guy knocked my wingman off, I was certainly taken by surprise. But absolutely class single. And I might just show you this on the bottom there. It's a singles club. And a lot of the early Sub Pop singles were released on a singles club format where people subscribed and they sent them a record every month or two. Some great collectible records coming out at the time. And just on that, maybe this could be a little Sub Pop taster, really, for something to come. I've got a mate, and he has got the best Sub Pop record collection I've ever seen. It's like a bloody museum. He's got just tons of it. And I think we're going to work on a video together, circling around sort of Sub Pop and that sort of era of us growing up together as lads. So that should be fun. So that's one to keep an eye out for. Anyway, thanks for listening to my rant. Do check those singles out and drive safe. Bye.